book up on the board. So you never have to question, like, should I be writing this down? Should I not be writing this down? Where should I write it down? Because anything that I write down, you're going to write down in the same exact spot. Cool? Yeah. Part of being an active learner is to be engaged in the conversation, raising your hand to answer any question. Just, you guys have gotten better over the last couple of days, but no random conversation, no words, no noises should be happening unless you raise your hand and answer a question. That's just so we can all stay focused, okay? It's always my goal that you get started, a good start on your homework before you leave, okay? All right, so today we're going to do 1-1, and it's all about rational numbers. And rational numbers are fractions. Fractions that end up being a repeating decimal or a terminating decimal. A repeating decimal means the same number or numbers happens over and over and over. You guys have seen 0.333333 and it continues on. That's a repeating decimal. 0.1257, 1257, 1257. And what happens is they use that bar notation. Do you remember ever seeing a decimal that looks like this? Okay. That bar means that 3 repeats over and over and over and over. It never ends. We also can have terminating decimals. Does anybody know what the word terminating means? Jack? If you're terminated from your job, you're fired. Very good. You're done. You're no longer working there. So if we talk about a terminating decimal, what do you think happens, Bryce? Very good. It might be 0.4 that ends. It might be 0.125, but it ends. There's no repeating bar, and it stops. Okay? So the very first thing that we're going to do today is they are going to give us fractions, and we have to make them into decimals. But Ms. Hoff is going to be a very kind soul and let you use a calculator. Okay? So if we go down to the bottom, example 1 and 2, they show us using long division. We don't have to use long division. Everybody grab your calculator. Type in 5 divided by 8. Remember, you don't have to use a fraction key. Use the division. There's one on the back desk, back table, Sam. On the back table. Everybody type 5 divided by 8 and hit equals. Your screen should say 0.625, does it? Yeah. If it doesn't, ask myself or Mr. Brees to help. Is everybody good? 5 divided by 8. Yes. I got to remember now. I think you go shift equals. That's how it works on yours. So you'll have to do that every time, okay? Awesome question. Her calculator is just a little bit different. Okay? Sometimes they're going to give us mixed numbers. A mixed number means it's greater than 1. So this whole number out here is going to go in front of the decimal point. Then you're going to type 2 divided by 3 on your calculator. 2 divided by 3. And your calculator probably says 0.66666666667. Yes? Why did it suddenly turn to a 7, do you think, at the end? It rounded. The calculator rounded for you. Okay? So when you see that same number repeating and then the last one change, ignore the last number. So this is a problem with a repeating decimal. So we wrote -1 because of the whole number. And now we're going to put our decimal point, and then we're going to put a 6 with a bar above it. Because that 6 goes on and on and on and on. Okay? Let's practice with our got it problems at the bottom. Got it? A. Everybody on your own, don't say the answer out loud, but write it in your book. Take 3 divided by 4 and write the decimal down next to it. 3 divided by 4 and write the decimal down next to it. Marilyn, what'd you get?
0.
Did anybody else get 0.75? Love it. Nicely done. Very good. Let's go to the right. B. Type in -2. Now on your calculator, your negative button is down at the bottom next to your decimal. Don't use the minus key. -2 divided by 9. And write what you think the answer is, and then I'm going to call on someone. Get clear for 1 second. I want to show you. You can type in negative right there. -2. Just so that you don't forget your sign. Okay? Petra, what'd you get? Okay, so what should you write as your answer? Agree or disagree? Why, Bryce? Don't lose the negative out front. Don't lose the negative out front. And maybe you had that and just didn't say it. Okay, so be very cautious with that. Good work. Nice job with the bar notation. Okay, now we're going to switch to mixed numbers, and this always makes people panic. Don't panic. Don't panic. The number you have out front goes in front of the decimal point. So right now, you can already write down 4 point. Now type 13 divided by 25 on your calculator. 13 divided by 25. Courtney? What'd you get?
Oh, I got
0.52. So you wrote it like that?
No, yeah.
Yes? 4.52. So your calculator said 0.52, right? But that 4 out front replaces that 0. So on a mixed number, don't panic. Try D on your own. Start to finish. If you have the answer, let everybody get a second, and then I'm going to call on someone. Caitlin, what'd you write?
3.09.
Over the 0 and the 9? What are your guys' thoughts? 3.09, and she said you need to put the bar above 0.9. Did your calculator say 0.9090909?
Yeah.
That is perfect. Excellent job. Excellent job. Question, sir.
But what about the 1?
What about the 1? Oh, remember, if that last number changes, it's because your calculator rounded. So if that changes, you just ignore that very last one. Good question. That one, your calculator probably says 0.90909090991. It again rounded for you. Okay? I want you to flip to page 10. I want you to flip to page 10. And I want you to do on your own 1, 2, and 3 under that guided practice. And then I'm going to call on some more people. You guys are doing an awesome job today. Focused, answering questions. I love it. I love it. We just flipped and we're doing these 3 right now, and then I'm going to have some people answer, okay? So what type of decimal is that then? It's repeating, right?
Yeah.
Does the 8 repeat at all?
No.
Just the 3? Okay. So when we draw that bar, you only want to put the bar above the number that repeats.
Okay.
So you're going to put 4 point.
8 bar above the 3. But
Perfect.
I'm wondering why it doesn't change to a 4.
Okay, because 3 is not big enough to make it round. It's only if the number's 5 or higher will that change there. Does that make sense? Great question. You need help. All right. This one. Okay. Ooh, don't lose your negative. And then, did you put 29 divided by 40 in your calculator again? Let me see what it says. Oh, put it on 40. There you go. Now just change the back half of that. All right, Brody. What'd you get on number 1? 9/16.
0.5625.
Anybody else? 0.5625. Nicely done. Nicely done. Tegan, number 2.
Negative 1.725.
Anybody else? Okay, don't lose your negative. Don't lose your negative. You got the last one, Tone? Okay. On both of them? Very good. This is one of those crazy ones. Only the 3 repeats, right? It said 0.8 and then it said 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. So make sure you only put the line above the 3. Sarah asked me a great question. She said, Ms. Hoff, on all those other ones, that last number changed. How come the last number on mine didn't change to a 4? Well, that's because 3 is repeating and 3 is not big enough to make it round. Okay? So it's not that you made a mistake. It's just that it's not going to round for you. All right. That's the first half of what we're doing. Now we got to flip back a page to example number 4 on page 9, about halfway down. So now they're going to do the opposite thing. Now they're going to give us a decimal, and we have to change it into a fraction. Okay? The first thing that we need to talk about is place value. So to the right of the tutor bubble, write the number down 0.123. To the right of the tutor bubble, right by number 4, write down 0, 1, 2, 3. All right. This is place value. What place value is the 1 located? The 400ths. Tenths. Very good. We're going to write that down. The 1 is located in the tenths location. The 2 is located in the hundredths. Very good. And the 3 is located in the thousandths. And technically your place value goes on and on and on, but Miss Hoff is going to be a very kind soul, and she won't make you go higher or smaller, technically, than thousandths. Okay? 0.45. Is this a terminating decimal or a repeating decimal? Raise your hand. Bryce? How do you know? Perfect. That's exactly it. There's no bar notation. So when it's a terminating decimal, we're either going to put it out of 10, out of 100, or out of 1,000. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So 45 is the numerator. The 5 is the second number, which is the hundredths, so they put it out of 100. Then you always have to look, can I divide out of 5? Yep, 9/20ths. The numbers I always look to divide out are 2, 3, and 5 usually. Okay, I'm going to give you an example over here because they didn't give us one. 0.3. Everybody write that down. 0.3. First question I'm going to ask, Bryce can't answer this. Is this a terminating or a repeating decimal? Jack? terminating. And we know that because there's not a repeating bar above it. Okay? So the number 3 is going to go in the top of our fraction. What number is going to go in the denominator, Sam? He says 10. Thoughts? He is correct. Nicely done. Because he's in the first location, which is tenths. Before you circle your answer, you have to say, can anything divide out of 3 and 10 to make this smaller? The only number that 3 can divide by is 3, but when you take 10 divided by 3, you get a decimal. So that is our final answer. I'm going to give you one to try on your own. 0.75. 0.75. Okay, we know this is a terminating decimal because it ends. So what number goes in the top of my fraction? 75. What number goes in the bottom, Bryce? 100. Because the 5, the last number, is in the hundredths location. If you circle 75 100ths, Miss Hoff is going to take off a half a point. Why? It's not simplified. What number can you divide out? 5. And an easy thing to know is it ends in a 5 and a 0. So on your calculator, take 75 divided by 5. Bryce? 15. Then take 100 divided by 5. And you get 20? You should get 20. 100 divided by 5. Do it again. Sam already said, Miss Hoff, you can simplify this again. Sam, what number you want to divide out? Just another 5, he says. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 20 divided by 5 is 4. Can I go more than that? Done. 3/4. Okay. Now, what about this decimal? Repeating or terminating? Repeating, because there's a bar. Okay? Miss Hoff does not want you to do what the book tells you to. They make this really hard, and it doesn't have to be. If you have a repeating decimal, it's going to go over 9. It's not going to be a 10 or a 100 in your denominator. It's going to be 9 or 99 or 999. So the number that repeats is our numerator. So 5 is going to go in the top. And every single number in the numerator needs a 9 right below it. So we need to put a 9 right below it. Can you reduce 5 9ths? So how about this one? What if I gave you 0.27 and the bar goes above the 2 and the 7? Try this on your own. Because it has a repeating bar, everything under the repeating bar goes in the numerator, in the top. Every number in the numerator needs a 9 below it in the bottom. Then reduce if you need to. Every single digit needs a 9. So it might be 9 or 99 or 999. What number goes in the top? 27. Both of them. What's the denominator? 99, because you need a 9 under the 2 and a 9 under the 7. Now, I'm going to give you a hint. See if you can divide out a 3. Because it's 99, 3 will always come out of it. Can you divide 27 by 3? What do you get? 27 divided by 3 is 9. 99 divided by 3 is 33. Check for another 3. Can you divide a 3 out of both? 9 divided by 3 is 3. 33 divided by 3 is 11. Can you divide out a 3 out of both of those? You can on the top, right? But the bottom doesn't work, so we don't want to do that. Your final answer is 3/11ths. Okay. It didn't make sense. When you have the repeating bar, then it goes over 9s. Nope, not when it's repeating. When there's not a bar above it and it's terminating, then it would go over 100. Okay. Flip to page 10. Flip to page 10 and do 5 and 6 as practice on your own. Pay attention. Rules are different for terminating versus repeating. Remember, rules are different for terminating versus repeating. That's what you guys have to decide. Flip back to your notes. When did we put tens, hundreds, thousands versus when did we put nines? Flip back one page. Okay. So go back. Look what we did on these two problems. When did we put it over tens and 100 versus when we put it over a 9? How do you know if you put it over 10, 100, 1,000, or if you put it over 9, 99, 999? Courtney?
If there's a repeating sign, then I repeat it, and if there's no other repeating sign.
Very good. So the first thing you're going to look at here is there a repeating bar on number 5? No. So this number, 32, is your numerator. What's your denominator then? 100. What do you have to do then? Simplify. What can you divide out? Ooh, 4, 2, either one. I heard Sam's 4 first. 32 divided by 4, Sam? 100 divided by 4? 25. Can you go further? Those of you that divided a 2 out, you probably got 16/50ths, right? Then you had to divide another 2 out, and guess what you got? 8/25ths. So even if you only saw the 2, that's okay. Sam saw 4? Cool. So again, the first thing I look at is there a repeating bar?
Yes.
Yes, there is. So this means it's going over 9s. We just have to figure out how many. Also, don't lose the negative sign, right? So I'm going to put the negative sign. What goes in the top of my fraction? 7. How many, so then on the bottom, how many 9s do I need? Just 1. Because I only wrote one number up here, I only need 1 9 down here. So most of you said, Miss Hoff, I don't know if I put it over 10s or 9s. Repeating over 9s. But what do we have to check? Can you simplify? And the number that Miss Hoff always told you to check was 3, right? What happens if you take 7 divided by 3? You get a decimal, right? So can you reduce this? Nope, we can't. So negative 7 9ths. All right, set your pencil down and fold your hands. Miss Hoff doesn't care for the book on this assignment just because I don't think they give you enough space. So I made you a worksheet. And it says write each fraction or mixed number as a decimal. So that's what we started the day with using your calculator, right? And there's 2 more of those on the back. Then the last 6 problem says write each decimal as a fraction. That's what we did on example 4 and 5. 1 and 2, 4 and 5. Okay? This has to be done tomorrow. When you come to class, tomorrow my directions are going to say you need a pencil, you need a calculator, you need your math book, and you need your 1-1 worksheet. And then we'll correct this right away. Okay? As you're working, if you have any questions, please raise your hand and ask. But many times Mr. Brees and I are going to say, ooh, let's flip to your examples. So always look at your book, give it a guess, and then we can always see if you're on the right track. Does that make sense? Okay? You guys still have 15 minutes. If you say you guys were so focused today and really good as far as staying on task, if we continue this, chances are you're going to get this over half done, if not all the way done. Okay? All right, I'll hand these out and then you can get started. I would not put your math book away just in case you wanted to look up examples.